Good morning. Friday, day off yesterday. Hope you made a profit. We'll have a look at yesterday's matches and see if you dug out anything. But if you fancy joining, head on over to footballtrainingprofits.com, click on the link and take out the trial. Alternatively, you can take the free Betfair trading course and also Premier League research, which I'll be providing for today and tomorrow. youtube.com/@footballtrainingprofits. Make sure you subscribe for any free live streams. Don't forget the curse of the Champions League. Monaco absolutely bossing Montpellier. Did equalise or did lead, but eventually lost the match. This is pretty much par for the course for some of these Champions League sides. So just be careful. Tuesday. Oh, the wrong Tuesday. This Tuesday here. Atalanta, Sturm Graz. There's Monaco there. Atletico Madrid, Leverkusen. Benfica won yesterday. Dortmund lost. Club Brugge, Juve, Red Star, PSV, Liverpool, Lille. How did they get on? Slovan and Stuttgart. Lille, well, they actually won yesterday, so that's a rarity. Came from behind, did concede the first goal. Some of these are going to slip up. Dortmund, Monaco. It's just a matter of finding which ones are going to slip up this weekend. Roma against Genoa. Well, on paper, this Claudio Ranieri side has been scoring for fun. But it was a tough match to be wholly trusting of them, given Genoa's defensive capabilities. But quite clearly, under Ranieri, all the way back to Lecce, 4-3-4-5-2-3. Quite clearly, he's been working on unlocking that attack. It was a 1-1. Could have laid the draw second half. Hopefully, Roma scoring the next goal to allow you a later back trade. Espanyol and Valladolid, much of a muchness that one. Top four clash, Burnley and Sunderland. No wonder it ended 0-0. Top four, difficult to take that 0-0 on as well, given the status of those two. Two rock-solid form sides, very difficult to unpack. This was the only real standout in French League 2. Grenoble expected to win and win comfortably. So what are you going to do? 0-0 at half-time. Hopefully, lay the draw. Old Sylvester Stallone turning up late on. You could have laid the very, very late draw, knowing this lot are newly promoted and potentially gettable late on. This is what I call a Desmond Tutu. It's up to you whether you take these on or not. I like to look for second half goals, which we got, and then I like to lay the draw late on. We didn't get that fifth goal, but it's obvious that both sides are going for it, conceding and scoring. So look out for 2-2s in the future. The Dutch Eerste Divisie, well, not really the goal fest I expected yesterday. Only the two over 2.5 goal matches, very unlike the Dutch Eerste Divisie. But I do like both teams to score an over 2.5 goal accumulator when they come in. Boy, did they come in. Benfica, Champions League bound. 1.2 home favourites. This is the performance of a 1.2 home favourite. This is what you expect. Goals before half-time and a potential win to 0 and 3 goals at least. Ticking all the boxes. What I would prefer, I tend to wait for 20 minutes and then you could potentially have a go in a half-time score market just to enhance the 1.22 odds. Steaua Bucharest, for those of you who had an in-play stats feed yesterday, you'd have been looking for that equaliser because, boy, they were all over the slot. If we had the stats feed here, you'll look at this, 24 goal attempts. So the later you lay Hermannstadt, the lower the liability and the bigger the reward. 9 shots off target, 8 shots on target, 7 block shots, 4 big chances, and a partridge in a pear tree. 20 shots inside the box. Second half, equally as solid. All one-way traffic. This is what you're looking for if you want a low-risk late play. Lay Hermannstadt as late as you dare. In comes Cretu with a thoroughly deserved equaliser. So look out for that. That's all about in-play stats, that match. It's the only real way you'd have got an angle in. So there's many different ways to get an angle. The pre-match odds, in-play stats, scoreline with that 2-2, and the pre-match odds, 1.4 favourite. Top 4 clash would have put you off as well. So there's many different ways for you to get an angle. Again, 1.10 favourite. Hearts conceded the first goal. Hopefully, you'd have been alerted to that. And again, as I said with Benfica, 1.1, you're expecting them to score 3+ goals, which indeed they followed up on. Galatasaray, all about the in-play stats again, thoroughly deserved this equaliser. Galat. So you could have laid with insurance, laid Hatayspor. Probably looking for a Galatasaray win. You'd have been very unlucky with that VAR offside in the 79th minute. Perfectly timed winner. Very solid forward line. Batshuayi, ex of Chelsea, and Victor Osimhen as well. Surprising to see Victor Osimhen in Turkey because he's a big fish. Looking on to today, and we've got the Premier League, French Ligue 1, Italian Serie A, German Bundesliga, Dutch Eredivisie, Spanish La Liga. Fantastic stuff. Live stream for members only today at 2:30 p.m. But it's going to be a little bit of a cautious one because, as you know, it's pre-Champions League. Liverpool, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Man City. What have we got today? Liverpool away from home. Could be vulnerable. You saw Monaco yesterday. Both Champions League sides are going to cancel each other out, pretty much, as far as the curse of the Champions League is concerned. Aston Villa do target those away goals, so do watch out for them. Arsenal still having problem with a kind of an Ian Wright type centre forward. They don't have an established centre forward. That's the big problem there. So Champions League away from home, watch out, could be vulnerable. London Derby, new manager. That's why it's 2.6 the favourite. Very tough match to unpack, this one. Fulham, deserved, really. Odds on against Leicester City. And Newcastle against Bournemouth. Let's have a look, I think, at the Leicester-Fulham match. That looks very interesting. We're not going to research the Champions League sides because of that curse. And it is a real curse all the way back to Mourinho's days at Chelsea. They used to lose their Premier League matches prior to the Champions League. Let's take a look at Leicester and Fulham. It looks an interesting match to unpack. Members only. Go to matches here. I've got the ad blocker off, so I don't know what they're doing here. Leicester and Fulham. And off we go. Don't forget, new manager for Leicester City, and he's not getting a tune out of them at all, is he? Ruud van Nistelrooy. They are having real struggles, particularly at home. They failed to score in the last 3 at home. Real struggles for Leicester. Fulham, touch of draw-itis. This is an opportunity today to end that draw-itis. You saw that for Brighton the other day against Ipswich. Far too many draws. They did end it against West Ham, but in the wrong way with the West Ham winner. So they're scoring 2 goals. That could be the undoing of Leicester City, who failed to score in the last 3 at home. Conceded in the last 14, Leicester. Going to be vulnerable today, aren't they? 19th against 10th. It is a relegation 6-pointer for Leicester at least. Fulham will be looking to try to eke their way up the table. Unbeaten away against 14th and lower, but those score draws turning up again. I think if Leicester score first, that could be my angle in today. Where's that second goal for Leicester at home? Just happened on the one occasion. So if they do score first, I think they're vulnerable today. And they're failing to score at home. I don't think Ruud van Nistelrooy is a very good fit at all for this side. Second half is where they do their scoring, Leicester City. 8 out of 11 goals scored have come second half. Fulham, look at that end to the matches away from home. So watch out for late plays, particularly from both teams. Both scoring very, very late on. 71%, 73% second half goals for both of these two. That gives you a real solid second half angle in if it's 0-0 at half time. Not going to do the London derby. New manager syndrome as well. We know all about Liverpool. We know all about Arsenal and Aston Villa. Paris Saint-Germain, I think, are involved in the Champions League as well. Any other sides? Let's have a look. Paris Saint-Germain and Brest are the two Champions League sides in French League, notably Brest away from home. This is a local derby of sorts as well, but they're going to be vulnerable away from home pre-Champions League. Particularly a small side like Brest will be treating the Champions League a lot more seriously, won't they? PSG have a small kickabout against Manchester City next week. They're away from home as well. This is where these sides are at the most vulnerable pre-Champions League. Look at Monaco yesterday. So pay attention to these Champions League bound sides. They could be vulnerable today. Form lines might be thrown out of the window. Let's have a look at the German Bundesliga Champions League sides. So today's Champions League sides: Bayern Munich, Leipzig, Stuttgart, Bayer Leverkusen. Stuttgart don't tend to be affected pre-Champions League. Leverkusen, they've had the odd 0-0 pre-Champions League, which is most unlike them. So they might wobble a little bit. Bayern Munich are at home. They look to have easy opponents today, but they have had the odd wobble themselves. I think that 2-2 against Heidenheim pre-Champions League as well. Leipzig away from home could be vulnerable today. They're not their most reliable anyway, but with the Champions League curse, and you see the pattern I'm talking about away from home, could see these sides vulnerable. Aston Villa, Leicester, PSG, Brest. Remember, Liverpool's loss to Nottingham Forest early on in the season was pre-Champions League. Italian Serie A, let's have a look at the Champions League sides involved there. We have Bologna, unexpectedly in the Champions League. Now that puts a different complexion on these short odds today. AC Milan, Atalanta. So each of these three matches has a Champions League element to it. Add to that the derby style Atalanta Napoli, that doesn't make any great appeal. Juve AC Milan is derby style match as well, doesn't make any great appeal. So it's a tough old coupon in Serie A. Bologna, are they going to be vulnerable against Monza? Let's have a look at the Bologna Monza form. Don't forget to add in that little curse of the Champions League. Is that going to see Bologna vulnerable? Again, like Brest, they're one of the lesser lights in Europe, but in the Champions League, only the 3 defeats all season. Napoli, Lazio and Verona. This was an aberration, and it came via an own goal late on, the win for Verona. So Bologna looking decent, Nick, I would say. Particularly competitive against the big guns as well. Inter Milan, Roma, and that was an own goal that they gave away. They've scored 2 goals in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the last 9 matches. Monza, an unexpected win over what used to be the winning machines. Fiorentina, that came, well, it was 2-0 up. So respect for that. But they're away from home, and they look to be scoring and conceding without winning away from home. Scoring and conceding in the last 8 matches as well. So watch out for Monza away from home, scoring and conceding. This is all about whether you can trust Bologna today. 8th in the league, look rock solid, don't they, at home? As I say, that was an own goal, getting the winner. On paper, all things being equal, they should be fairly confident. But this is a unique weekend. Okay, that's why I'm very cautious. The Dutch Eredivisie, any Dutch sides still in the Champions League? I think we do have some, don't we? Well, both PSV and Feyenoord are in the Champions League and are both away from home. Now, if they're leading, the best value is to lay them. Because you never know. They could just cock things up like Monaco did yesterday, utterly dominating against Montpellier, but losing, scoring first as well. So that could be a contrarian view, especially with Bologna as well. If the odds are short enough, Leverkusen, for any of these Champions League sides, if the odds are short enough, lay them. So you have been warned. More away sides, AC Milan, PSV, Feyenoord. Any other away sides? Well, we have Brest, Paris Saint-Germain, Aston Villa, Liverpool, all Champions League bound. Could be vulnerable today. That's why I'm not doing some in-depth research, because we've got this curse hanging over us. Spanish La Liga as well. Champions League sides, I think Atletico Madrid and Barcelona, but let's just confirm that. Well, we also have Girona. Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Girona. So more Champions League potential hiccups in La Liga. Let's have a look at the Girona-Sevilla match on paper. Are they worthy favourites? Let's see if they're going to underperform with the curse of the Champions League. They should really be eyeing the wins. This Sevilla is not the Sevilla of old. Used to be a top 5 side, Sevilla, didn't they? Girona, a couple of recent defeats against Real Madrid and Mallorca, the only real blot since the 2nd of November. Prior to that, a couple of 1-0 defeats. So 3 of their last 4 defeats have been 1 goal in it. 2 consecutive clean sheets. They'll be delighted with that. But Sevilla conceding 8 goals in the last 2 away matches, but notably against the big Madrid sides. Working our way down. 3 consecutive away defeats for Sevilla. Challenge table, 8th against 13th. Big gap for Sevilla. Away against 7th to 12th. Girona, well, they would be eyeing the win today ordinarily, wouldn't they? 3+ goals in the bag against 11th and lower at home. Really solid stuff, isn't it? So be watching out for a potential comfortable win. Sevilla, playing a top 8. Very competitive against the big 2, who they've played recently away and lost to. So are they going to find their goal-scoring form today? 2-2, 2-3. It's pre-Champions League for Girona. If Sevilla can find their goal-scoring boots, we might get a surprise result. No real strength goal times wise, but notably the end of matches for Sevilla away from home, 9 goals in total. So you see the theme today. It's very much watch out, pre-Champions League theme today. You've got to be extremely cautious. Ordinarily, you'd be looking at the away win, wouldn't you? But just in the back of the mind is that upcoming Champions League match. Arsenal and Villa as well. Could Arsenal be vulnerable today? We know Emery likes European football, particularly the Europa League. Paris Saint-Germain away, Brest away. Are they vulnerable like Monaco were yesterday? Bayern Munich Leipzig, Stuttgart, Leverkusen, Bologna, Milan, Atalanta, all involved in the Champions League. I'll be doing a live stream for members from 2:30 today, and I'll have my cautious boots on today because of this curse of the Champions League. So I hope to see members a bit later on. If you're playing today, please make sure you know who's involved in European club competition, not just the Champions League. You know, Galatasaray didn't win yesterday, notably at odds on. We've also got, of course, today, Championship, League One, League Two, just to add a little boost to the 3 PMs. What I tend to do personally, my main focus will be on odds on favourites. So there's only a couple of them today. So it looks like a competitive championship today, doesn't it? League One, I would not be researching. Again, my main focus on the odds on favourites. You can see them there. The usual crowd, Birmingham in particular. In English League Two, Walsall, Salford, Port Vale, all familiar names from the recent FA Cup, and Wimbledon against Tranmere. Those would be my main focuses during my live stream for members this afternoon. My job is basically to try to generate trading angles, and that's one way of doing it. Pre-match odds. We've also got French League 2. We've also probably got German Bundesliga 2, which is warming up nicely, coming to the end of the season, but it's a tough old coupon today, 2.45, 2.5. Poison Munster, newly promoted, could be vulnerable today. FC Köln, ex of the Bundesliga, as are Hamburg. They just can't shake off this Bundesliga's vice. Similar with Schalke, couldn't get back up, along with Werder Bremen. Braunschweig, I think, newly promoted, could be vulnerable today. So it's an interesting coupon in the Bundesliga's vice. So Greek Super League, nothing much to talk about there. In Israeli Liga Ha'al, Maccabi Tel Aviv, if it's covered on Betfair, I'll be following it for members. Serie B, Cremonese. We don't have our friends Sassuolo today. Watch out for them. Probably tomorrow. The side to follow in Serie B if you're a trader, Sassuolo. Very, very reliable. Keep conceding first and then coming back and doing the business. Anything else? Not much. Portuguese La Liga. Sporting Lisbon. Guimarães. Excellent goal scoring side. But again, just check. Any Portuguese sides? Benfica. Do we have Porto involved? Well, we've got Sporting Lisbon away at Leipzig. So watch out again. If you see some shock results and they're away from home, if you see a laboured performance this evening from Sporting Lisbon, you'll know why. It's that curse of the Champions League. Scottish Championship, League One, League Two, well, Scottish Cup today. Could be worth following. Again, it's all down to the pre-match odds. Don't forget 1.06 normally, 1.05, normally 4-0 to 9-0 scorelines, but the French 106s, 105s, well, completely made a pig's ear out of it with a 2-2 and a 1-3 loss turning into a 3-3, that kind of thing. La Liga 2, well worth following as well. Newly relegated Levante stand out there today. Cadiz as well, used to be in La Liga. So I'll see members from 2:30 onwards. Swiss Super League, well worth following as well. The young boys involved in the Champions League. Let's have a quick look. Maybe they're involved in the Europa League, the young boys. I'm not sure if they're involved in the Champions League. No, Europa League, I think, for the young boys. So don't forget the curse today of European club competition. One or two of these sides are going to do what Monaco did yesterday. Odds on favourite losing after scoring first. The problem is we don't know which one of these slot are going to slip up. So you've got to be very cautious today. These aren't your usual reliables. Have a great day. I'll see members for a live stream. Don't forget, subscribe to youtube.com/@footballtradingprofits. Have a great day.